different people from different places in the world, and with very different backgrounds. Guru Kripa had to travel around the world 3 times to get here and do the final thing. Gurnanava in Bari was sent to India because he had construction experience. Manu had to be thrown out of the temple in order to get here. Dhananjaya, as usual, was the established, experienced, starting temples wherever he was asked to. And my story is that I sort of came out of the blue. I happened to go to India to do a kind of a reportage, a kind of documentary studying Krishna, because I already made an earlier trip 2 or 3 years before that, and I didn't see what I saw when I came back to Amsterdam. That's where I'm from, with quite a lot of devotees. And I think one of the first person I met there was Dhananjaya playing in a band with Akshayananda in the Milky Way. It was a psychedelic place where all sorts of alternative practices, religions. We even had people walking around naked because that was the thing. There was a lot of ashes and palm readers, tarot readers. So that's where I saw the devotees and playing Hare Krishna. There was a little stage. So we used to hang out there, and then a year later when I decided I wanted to go back to India, so I just took a plane to Bombay, and I wandered around the city for about a week, and I couldn't find any Krishna temple. There was Ganesh, there was Rama, there was Durga, Shivaji. I couldn't find a Radha Krishna temple. So I was just asking around, and I reached at the Nariman Point area, right in the city where I never expected a temple to be. And then somebody told me, yeah, there is a Hare Krishna temple over there. So I walked there, and it was a skyscraper. And I was very surprised to find a temple in a skyscraper. That was Akashganga building, the same where Guru Kripa was located for quite a while.
Beach Candy.
Beach Candy, yeah. So I went upstairs, and there was only one person, Madhuri, the wife, ex-wife of Tamal Krishna. Goswami, she was there. Just sit down, the devotees are coming soon. And then I said, oh, these are the same people from Amsterdam. I said, well, that brought me back some memories. So I was sitting there waiting, and 1 hour passed, 2 hours, and then suddenly the door opened. Narayan, totally ecstasy, screaming at the top of his voice, Haribol! Haribol! And then all the other devotees came in. So I was sitting there, Shabsunda came up to me, and he said, it's very nice that you're here, because this is the last day in Akashganga building. We're leaving this place and we're going to Juhu. There's a bundle there, we got land donated, and it has a well on the land, it's near the sea. Do you like to come with us? So I said, okay. So they loaded up the taxis. There were 3 taxis with all the devotees in there. So Guru Kripa got away with 25 cents. I had to pay for 3 taxis to get my ride. So when we arrived, and they said, "Do you have any money? Can you pay for this?" And I didn't have much, but I gave that. So then, I think the devotees were so excited that I came to this place in Juhu, like here, with flowers and the usual pandal in India. And it was a stage, and there was a Vyasasan. So, and Prabhupada was coming up there to speak. So I was sort of standing in the back there, I had no idea how to react or what to do, because I just came, I just paid for the taxis. And then again Shamsundar came up to me and he said, "We forgot our tape recorder. Do you have a tape recorder?" I said, "Yes, I have a tape recorder. Can you record this lecture of Srila Prabhupada?" I said, "Yes." So I said, "Take your little microphone, stick it on the big microphone and sit next to the Vyasasan, and then if the tape finishes, you turn it around." So I was sitting there, and then Prabhupada came. And then Prabhupada was looking sort of to his left, and who is that? You know, like look in his eyes. I'd never seen him before. So anyhow, I taped the lecture, I gave it back to the devotees. And then Dinanath invited me to go and sleep on the roof. There was buildings with mosquito nets. So we all went to sleep there, all the devotees were there. And then somewhere around 3:30, that whole mosquito net was pulled off me. And everybody already had left for somewhere. And then Brahmananda was standing there, "Get up!" I said, "Go to Mangalarati and chant Hare Krishna." So I walked to had the Mangalarati, and then I started chanting. And then he came back later. I think in those days there was no Guru Puja. So we would just chant, and at around 6:30 he said, "You know, at the corner there's a little barber. At 7 o'clock he opens, you shave your head, because Prabhupada wants to see you." So I went to the barber and he shaved, and I left a little sikha. I had sort of decent long hair. And then they took me to his quarters, which was the warrior's little flat, apartment. And then immediately Shamsundar took me in, he was the secretary at that time. He took me inside the room and he said, "Yeah, go in, Prabhupada wants to see you." So he looks at me and he said, "Oh, now you look very nice. Please sit down." So I sat down. And he asked me one question, just one. He said, "What is the use of decorating dead bodies?"
He said, "What's the purpose of it
What is the purpose of decorating dead bodies? So I said, "No purpose." He said, "Exactly. So Krishna has sent you here to design this temple." I just came off the street, you can say. And tomorrow we have the fire sacrifice, and I'll give you initiation. So, although he paid less, but I got it earlier.
Wow.
So, Shamsundar, give him some paper and some pens. So you sit outside there on the veranda, and I give you some pictures, and I want you to make a drawing for this temple. So I started drawing, and then he would come over every 1 hour or so and look over my shoulders, and he goes like, "Oh, very nice, very nice, very nice." So I finished the drawings in 2 or 3 days, and then I got a little office there in the Chetai hut, Everything was in huts with rats above our head.
Rats.
So I had a counter, and I had to start drawing or making the drawings for the temple in Bombay. Now, as you know, the story in Bombay was that things got delayed. So I had about 9 months to prepare everything, because nothing happened in terms of working with other architects and engineers. I worked with Vishaka, she was the photographer in those days, and we made a nice little brochure about the future presentation, the perspective drawings. And all that was done, so nothing else to do. So then I was sent on with Giriraj with a little briefcase, his life membership program. And I couldn't understand that program. You know, he would sit there and then tell all sorts of stories and impress them. And those people, they were rich, but they wouldn't listen really. They would just look other ways, or busy with a phone, or somebody else would come in. But Giriraj had the patience to just sit there and sit there and sit there till he got somebody a member. So I didn't have that ability, so I wasn't very good in assisting him. So then one day I got, we got a letter in Bombay. I don't know if it's Gopal Krishna or somebody else who gave that to me, that Prabhupada wants you to go to Vrindavan. So that was in 1973, somewhere in April. And I told some of that story yesterday in the Pandal. But basically, I came there, and at one point I went to Raman Reti. I met Guru Dawson Jamuna, and they took me to the side. And then I saw this short man there. He was standing anxiously waiting at the door of the little office. That was Gurudeva. Haribo!
Haribo!
So we started talking about, later on, about things that happen in Wales and things that happen in Holland. And sort of, we always got along pretty good. So he talked about his days in London when he was searching for the absolute truth, and he was studying Ramakrishna. I was doing palmistry. So we all had various hobbies, and then that was the time when also here nothing was going on. And so that sort of, when Guru Kripa finally came in 1974, somebody was coming in, because stages he was collecting from Delhi. But it was a certain amount that would just keep us going, but to make a whole move, because it wasn't just this temple, we had to also do Prabhupada's house, we had to do the guest house, and so we were always anxious for money. But like Banu said, when Guru Kripa would come here in those last 2 years, we never saw the money from him, because no, don't give it to Prabhupada. Nobody touches my money. So we knew that we wouldn't touch any of it, but it was safe. So we did have very ecstatic kirtans, and like you can hear, he is extremely good in quoting verses and relating them to maybe a little bit different than other devotees do, but quite original, but all backed up by Shastra. And we were attracted to that sort of wild spirit. And he goes out again, and then, okay, struggling out there, and then we struggle here, he struggles there, or many other people that were involved or came. And that sort of created a bond. And that's, even though I haven't seen him for quite a long time, so that whatever happened to him, or whatever he's doing, whatever he's saying, as for me it's all fine. I know what he has done, I know what happened here, And without him, this would not be here. Now, everything goes back to Prabhupada because he inspired all of us. And I saw the similarity with Guru Kripa and myself. At a certain point, there was, to live in an organization like ISKCON or any other organization, you have limitations compared to working with Prabhupada, who would just tell you the thing he wanted, and if there were, and you could see that you couldn't relate to it or you had a problem with another devotee, he wouldn't talk about that. He would just, he said, okay, just we work direct together. So I had a similar situation. At one point I couldn't function in the administrative system and everything went very slow. I wasn't here, that was later on in Mumbai, where everything had to be approved and approved and approved. So that was one reason why Mumbai got a little bit late. But I always saw a similarity, and I said, it's almost like we had a contract with Prabhupada. We had a contract for so many years to finish this thing. And that contract would be a guarantee. To complete that contract would give us a kind of a certificate that you have done this, it stands there, it is all, the names are on the wall. And sometimes people come to me because I'm always worried, you know, I can't always think of Krishna. And then this idea of the contract comes in, because people tell me, yeah, but you're okay, you know, you did all this service. And I couldn't place it really, that I didn't think so high of myself. But then the contract idea that, yes, Prabhupada gave us a job to do. And whatever it took, whatever it costed, it had to be done. And he was pushing, and he was making sure that these projects would be finished. And in this particular case, Guru Kripa was the main supplier. Of course, we had Tejas there, but Tejas had an administrative function. Tejas was sort of, in Delhi, he was like the entire GBC together for here. He had to approve every payment that we would make, when we buy cement, when we buy steel, and then he had to explain to Prabhupada if everything was spent properly. So he used to be the screen person in between, so we didn't really have to do much with the money. And Tejas was looking after it, apart from going out every day and collecting and making life members. So for us, Tejas was the... Also, at times when we were here and there was very little to do, we would go to Delhi. I had to meet the engineers. And then we would go to the Delhi temple, and everything was so comfortable. We had different kinds of prasad. Here it was always chapati dal. Sometimes a little sabji, usually taken from the trees. So that Delhi trip was a little bit of a break. And we got some sweets sometimes. So it was, and then we meet the other devotees. I think at one time Jamuna was staying there, Malati was staying there.
5 minutes.
Right. And that's basically to fill in on the different sides. And now I'm giving the microphone to the next person who will speak.
No, okay, you can.